everything that happened at the cataclysm were things that happened below the stellosphere. You guys already know my opinion. There's just assessing all the data, everything from physics, astrophysics, astronomy, everything from the historical record that's ever been recorded in human history. I have assessed all this material that I have come in contact with, and I can conclude no other set of circumstances aside from our sky is artificial and that it's hiding something else. That does not mean there isn't something physically up there. It means that I am telling you that what we see as the stars at night and wandering stars and the planets, these are concealing something else. There is something else up there. What we're seeing is a light show. So, and there's been times in the historical record where the power source failed and people actually saw what was really there as opposed to what the holography has been showing us from this perspective. I don't know if they fell from the sky, but I am on board with the concept because I have documented this in multiple videos. I believed what Charles Fort believed a century ago, that flora and fauna have been falling from the sky from somewhere else for thousands of years. Rivers of insects, insect plagues, whole animal life forms have appeared in this world ex nihilo. As if they just fell from the sky. And even today, sometimes we have fish that are not native to a certain continent raining on the ground. We have frogs, frog eggs, tadpoles. They rain from the sky. Now, science likes to tell us that, oh, okay, it's just some unrecorded typhoon somewhere sucked them up into the sky, and they came back down somewhere else. But it doesn't make sense because layers of the ice cores in Antarctica, when they have pulled those ice core data up, they have found insect larvae that was frozen in there. That means it fell from the sky. Over and over in the historical record, different civilizations have recorded when larvae, pupas, and little tiny insects had rained from the sky. And sometimes it was different types of insects. Sometimes it was just the same species of insect, which would completely rule out a typhoon type scenario. So it's very interesting. Locusts and crickets have fallen out the sky and they were still frozen solid. Some of them started moving when they thawed out and they're alive because that's what insects, amphibians, and reptiles can do. That mammals cannot. You can flash freeze fish, amphibians and reptiles, and a lot of crustaceans, like crawdads and lobsters, and you can flash freeze them. And when they thaw out, they can get up and crawl away. You can do it with scorpions, arachnids. You cannot do that with mammals. Once you freeze a mammal, they're dead. So I don't know if they fell from the sky. What you're describing, these mammalian life forms, I don't know, but I don't think it would be necessary either. We have too much evidence of the fossil record shows us what we know in science are basically known as extinction level events. So what I mean is we have evidence, and I have several videos that show the hundreds of images of life forms that have been frozen solid as they were doing whatever they were doing. Some of them were giving birth. I have actual photos of creatures giving birth that were frozen solid at the time. Other creatures were in the middle of eating and swallowing other creatures when they were frozen to death. Some were fighting each other and the hackles on their backs were raised. They were frozen solid. Earthworms, jellyfish, microcilia, cephalopods, everything that you can't actually petrify or turn to stone by the standards of science has been found fossilized, and it doesn't make sense unless the entire world from the mountaintops to the ocean beds, and we know it's the ocean beds because of all the oyster and clam beds that have been found fossilized with all the shells closed, which is impossible because as soon as a clam or an oyster dies, the muscles relax and the shells open. But that's not how we find them in the fossil record. We find them all shut, meaning they were alive when they froze to death. So if something had the ability to freeze from the mountaintops all the way to the ocean depths of miles underwater at the exact same time, then that means everything in the world ceased to exist. Something turned everything off. And then when it was turned back on, all of a sudden new programming brought new life forms. And this too is what the fossil record shows. The fossil record does not show transitional life forms. That is a series of hypotheticals that was turned into a theory that is promoted as fact. It's called uniformitarianism, natural selection, and evolution. None of this has ever been proven. It's all BS. What the fossil record actually shows is mass extinctions and almost instantly all new life forms, with sometimes a carryover of pre-existing life forms that were formerly flash frozen. And what I mean is you can get a shovel and go to your backyard right now and you can dig about 3 feet in the ground, and I promise you're going to find at least 5 life forms that we have found in 600 million year old fossilized rock. Now, I don't believe that rock is 600 million years old, but that's what science tells us. So, it's I hope I answered your question. To the best of my knowledge, a lot of life forms, when they made their first debut appearance on Earth, they did so ex nihilo. It was instantaneous. It was not by development.